Alright, welcome back. So, creating animations with the character. We are going to get into that a little bit, but the first thing we need to do is we actually need to group these together. So, I'm going to group these any day now. This will be called arm front. Control G. This is our head layer. And if you've already done this, good job. The body layer can stay the same, that doesn't matter. Control G, this will be leg front. And then this will be leg back. And then this will be arm back. Now you might be wondering why I layer all these the way I am. It makes it a lot easier to navigate. Last thing we want to do is select all of these and hit Control G, one last group. And this will be called idle 01. So one of the things we need to do is we need to make idle 01 and the last idle match each other. And the way I do that is I will actually duplicate idle 01. For me, it's Control D. For you, it's something else. I believe it's Control E or something like that. Alternatively, you can right-click on this and go down to Duplicate, Layer, or Mask, and it'll have the shortcut for that key right there. So we have idle 01. I'm going to say idle 07. Yeah, I'm going to create 6 images. Joy. So this is the first one we have created. So I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to call this idle 02. And now we start animating. Ideally, if there's 1 and 7, that means I actually need to set this up as 3. And so the reason why it needs to be 3 because it needs to be in the middle. 3 or 4 around there. But I need a layer that is in the middle of her animation. And then from there, I kind of go out of that animation. So let's go ahead and just look at a line real quick. We can actually visualize this a lot easier. 1, if we can see it. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have all of these, but you can see like there's 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. So yeah, actually this will work rather well. So this actually needs to be animation 4, or idle 4, I mean. And this will be what we animate. And we'll just kind of use this layer 50 for reference. So we're going to just move that up there. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put a slash on these two, and then I'll put a slash in number 4 because that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, put a slash in number 4 because that's the one I'm messing with. So arm front, what are we going to do with arm front? Well, is what I want to do is I can actually take the whole arm and I can actually rotate it. So I hit the transform. Oops. This little cross, this is where you lock down the anchor. So when you transform, I'm actually going to transform it like this. And then I know I said earlier that you can always clean up the edges. I'm not going to because I don't even know if we're going to stick with these images or not. So I'm just kind of throwing them out there. And then for the arm front, I'm going to click on this, not that one. I want arm front lower. I'm going to come right back here to where the pivot is. I'm going to move this outwards. I'm going to press enter. So that's her whole animation. Head. So I want her head to move like she's breathing. So she's actually going to look down on the animation. And I'm actually going to hide 7 so this way I can see exactly what I'm doing. The ears and stuff I will animate in just a little bit, but now I want this arm to drop down as well. And so we're going to go to arm back. We're going to click on that. We're going to bring this right back here. So that arm's going to come way down here, like so. And then I'm going to come down here, arm back lower. I'm going to move this right about here. I'm going to bring this down. There we go. And one advantage that we will have with this being kind of blurry is that will actually add to it's basically like a extra little motion blur, if you will. So this will blur out. That'll kind of like look unique. So I want to go to the body now. I'm going to twist that just a little bit. Actually going to make it look like she's breathing. And then the leg front, leg back. I'm actually going to select, I want to select both of these. The first thing I'm going to do is select both. I'm going to select this one, but I'm actually going to move it in. Then I need to select leg front. This one will be moved out. We'll bring that one in as well. Now the feet, we need to match up as close as possible. That is actually very, very important. I should actually have something, like this foot back should actually be in this group right here, because this is actually a chain. So that's one thing to really keep in mind. So this way I can click on leg lower back, and I can modify the pivot of this, let's say right about here, and then I can click on foot back, lock this in here, and like so. So that's why it's good to kind of like keep those as an animation chain. This one's close enough, I'm not too worried about it. Normally I wouldn't even animate or create an idle state for the legs. I'd just leave those alone. But I figure why not. This will just kind of like give you an idea on how I'm doing it. So now we have done idle 4. So now we need to do 2, and we need to do 6. So we're going to go ahead and mark out, let's click on layer 50. We will do 2. And we are going to duplicate that. Now this is going to be kind of difficult. And the reason why this is going to be difficult is because we need it, I'm trying to think how to explain this. So we have this start animation right here, and this is the most she is going to move. So we need to move this where it's just barely right here, so the next one will look like it's actually part of the other. In fact, for idle 04, I'm actually going to drop down the opacity. I'm going to say 47. Yeah, 47 looks good. So I can see the head, I can see the body, I can see all of this. This will actually work out really well for me. So I'm going to click on the head. We're going to go back to this layer. And so I just want to move that just a little bit and bring it down. There we go. And then the arm front, I'm going to do the same thing. So we have the arm front. I'm going to put the pivot here. I'm going to move it just a little bit, right about here, I think. And then I'm going to go and click on the lower. I will move this down just a little bit. Awesome. And so now we have the body. I will rotate just a little bit. Hey. Now we need to move the legs. Let's see, leg front, leg back. So we have back. Move just a little bit, not too much. Then we have front. The front seems fine. We move it up just a little bit. Okay. We'll now duplicate idle 2. This will be idle 06. This will go under here. It's going to take a while because there are a lot of where did idle 6 go? Idle 6 went in here where it was not supposed to. There we go. So idle 2 should be done. And now we're going to create one more for idle 3. Let me go ahead and go up to layer 50 because idle 2 or idle 6 is done. So this is where we create one more, and this will be 3 and 5. 03. We mark that one off, you little bastard. We mark this one off. There we go. And this is going to be the last step of the animation. So this will be between the last one we created and the the last one we created and the very center one, which is idle 04. So we're going to move this back, move this about here. I'm going to expand it, arm front lower, which I actually forgot to animate the other arm. I feel kind of like a dumbass for that now. I didn't call myself a dumbass, I just said I felt kind of like one. There is a difference. So idle 6, we're actually going to cut that real quick. We're going to come down to idle 2. We're going to look for arm back. We're going to click on it because we do need that arm in there. I'm just going to bring it down right about here. And I'm going to expand that out, lower, because I did move that down as well. So I need to move this down just a little bit, not much. So now we're done with idle 2. We can duplicate that. This will be idle 06. And that will go underneath 7. There we go. Turn that one off. And so arm back, now we can actually do this one. I'm going to move that down to about here, give and take. Arm back lower. We'll come down here. We'll set this. Move it down to about here. There we go. Looks like she's jerking off really fast. The head is the next step. So we'll move this down here. Move this down to about here. I'm going to move this down right. This up. Thinking right there. Okay, there we go. So now the next step. The body should be fine. That leg moves an awful lot. So let's go to the leg back. We're going to move this here. And then we have the foot, which actually needs to go into the lower. Move this down below. Lower. So I'm going to center this anchor, move this up, and then I can go and click on the foot. You little bastard. Click on the foot, move that up here. There we go. Alright, excellent. So this is, that should, yeah. So this should actually be 05 now. Idle 05. And that will be right there. Beautiful. Okay, so that's good. That's good. That needs to go up to 100. That's good. That's good. That's good. Okay, excellent. So this, we're going to turn off layer 50 now. We're going to hit Control-Shift-S. Idle 01. Okay. Idle 02. Why do I keep doing that? Three. 4. 5. 6. And 7. Now 7 isn't really used, but we can still use it for the looping. That's the main thing. We do need to check out the animations. So, animations, what is this? Get latest, continue. So we have animation, there's choppy. We actually don't have player. Oh yeah, we do. They are in here. So I'm actually going to add those because I keep forgetting that. You would think I would have figured that out. There. Submit. Little bastard. And now I get to check those back out. Okay. I also need to check out the player prefab too, so I'm going to go ahead and do that real quickly. Player prefab, I'm going to check out. Okay. Let's go back into Unity now, and we're going to click on player. We're going to go into the prefab, make sure the animator is on it. And it looks like it is. So now we're going to go into Window, Animation, Animation. This does not have a clip. What the hell does she not? She has the animator. Alright, now she should have her, here we go, player idle. So check this out, guys. This is actually really, really cool. We go into character sprites, player sprites, and I've already screwed up because I forgot to set all these, but we're going to select all of the idles. We're going to go to, no, we're going to go to 2D and UI, apply. So now we have all of these, right? So now we can literally select them all. In fact, I'm going to bring this window over here. We have all these selected. I can bring these right up here and expand them out to say 1 second. So with her being an idle, check this out. I'll hit play. Boom. Idling when it plays. She's moving a bit much. And it looks like she's just jacking someone. But that's the idea behind animation. Obviously I moved the sprites way too much. Looks like she's going into an epileptic shock or something. But you get the idea. So, what I can do, because between, let me actually look at this. Okay, yeah, that is a bit much that she's moving. That's something like we could use for if she's low on health. So, we get to select all of these. No, I said select them all, you little bastard. Go ahead and hit cut layers. Turn idle 01 back on. We're going to hit Control D. Idle 02. So I'm just going to click on arm front. Just going to move that just a little bit. I'm going to click on head. Move that here. Move that one more. There we go. We have arm back. I'm just going to move that a little bit. And one other thing I want to say is your arm, your head, and your other arm should always be attached to the body. Technically your feet should be too, but I'll go into that here in just a little bit more in depth in just a second. So I'm actually attaching all of these, and we need the arm back, head. So the arm back is actually the back part of this, so there we go. And the reason why we want to do this is because we can actually attach this to where her hip is and move that just a little bit. So now we duplicate this. Idle 03. This is the way I normally animate. It just makes it easier. I'm going to move this down. Arm front. And then I'm going to come down here to arm back. So I am moving these, it's just a really, really small amount. Okay, so there's idle 3, Control D. This will be idle 4. And then I'm going to select body. I think y'all will like this animation a lot better. Whoa. There we go. Arm front. Lower. And then we're going to have head. And then we're going to come down to arm back. Then we're going to say lower. No, you little bastard. There we go. Okay, so now that we have done that, we can literally take idle 3, duplicate it, move it above idle 4. This is idle 5. We can take idle 2, duplicate it. This will be idle 6. And then we'll take idle 1, duplicate it. This will be idle 7. This is normally the way I animate. I usually use the other just as a reference, but ultimately this is the way I prefer to do it. So this is 7. Yes. 6. 5. 4. And y'all can see what I mean with the blurriness. That is one thing you will run into, so prepare for that. The larger images you have, the less you have to worry about it, but it's whatever. 2. And like I said, we'll just call it motion blur. It'll actually give a little bit more depth to the game. When you're moving them, you don't have to worry about it as much, but it's still an issue. So now when we hit play, you'll see that this looks a lot smoother. And there we go. And even if I click in the game and scale in, you can kind of see it, but you have to be zoomed way in to actually see it. So being in the game, I mean, it doesn't look too bad. It has a good look to it. It's nice and smooth. And that is how I animate generally. When it comes to running, basically I do the same setup. And I just move the feet back and forth until it looks proper. So I'm actually going to come in here. I'm going to set these to 2D and UI. Apply. I'm going to hit save because this is Forest 02, which it should be saved in all of them. I'm going to come back here, player prefab. That can get submitted. Submit. And then we have all of these right here that I just did. We can submit these. Submit. There we go. And that is how you do animations. Hope you guys found this tutorial series helpful. And the next one I do will be on the jogging animation, so prepare for that.